Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
Portia's gestation could have come at a lower seasonable time. Stuck between her love for Curtis and her lust for Isaiah, when Portia got pregnant, it eventually put effects into perspective. Of course, her interest in co-parenting alongside Curtis and continuing her relationship with Isaiah didn't stop her from loathing Curtis' new old woman, Jordan. Now, it's looking like another battle for Curtis' heart. Jordan is pregnant, or is she? Jordan has been all but wearing her unopened gestation test around her neck, drawing out the ineluctable. She has reason to believe she's pregnant, but she's yet to confirm anything. General Hospital spoilers for March 13 teased that Jordan's secret wasn't safe, and when Portia ran into Jordan at the nail salon, she caught wind of the way Jordan suddenly took off and hastened to the bathroom. And of course, considering the way Jordan called Portia out for being pregnant, Portia was anything but quiet about it. When Portia outright asked if Jordan was pregnant, Jordan didn't answer, but Portia jumped to that conclusion. But while Jordan just learned everything is fine with her liver, could there be commodity differently wrong that's mimicking gestation symptoms? Or is Curtis about to be a pater 2 times over? If Portia's hypotheticals weren't bad enough, Stella dropped off a housewarming present at Jordan's place and was unexpectedly aided by Curtis. But it didn't take long for Stella to discover Jordan's gestation test. Lulu and Maxie argue and Nathan breaks it up and tells them to stop fighting and be honest with each other. After Nathan leaves, Lulu says she will end up begrudging Maxie if she does not pursue Nathan because of her. Maxie says she feels betrayed and wants to know why Lulu did not say commodity the moment she woke up. She accuses Lulu of lying to her and says it changes how affects are between them. Lulu says Maxie is her stylish friend and she only wants the stylish for her. Maxie feels like she's losing both Lulu and Nathan, but Lulu disagrees. Chase tells Dante he wants to help find baby Jane Doe's family. Dante is thankful for the help, telling there are presently no leads. Dante gets a call that security footage from the train station showing a woman matching Delilah's description and they've her bags. Nathan brings the bags in, and he and Dante open them to find clothes and baby inventories. The luggage markers show her name. Brooklyn and Chase bond with the baby on General Hospital. Liz lets Brooklyn check in on baby Jane Doe in the NICU. She asks if she can hold the baby, but Liz says only staff and trained levies can hold preemies. Liz says she can let Brooklyn sit and keep the baby company. Felicia tells Liz if no bone claims the baby by the time she's released, she will have to go into foster care. Felicia brings up Nathan and Lulu and Liz admits she heard about it. Felicia's concern is for Maxie and Dante, but Liz tells her not to intrude. Former General Hospital recaps Maxie and Nathan have it out. Chase stops by to let Brooklyn know about the setup luggage and also spends time talking and singing to the baby. Dante stops by the sanitarium and tells Liz that the mama's name was Delilah Wilson and that they are looking for her family. Sunny finds Gio playing the guitar at Charlie's and the two talk about his music. Sunny says Gio needs to move forward and either finish academy or get a long-term job. Gio says he is not sure what his future is, but Sunny believes it has to do with music. Gio says he wonders who he's without music or what he has to offer. Sunny says Gio has to get back into the real world, but Gio does not know where to start. He asks what his first step should be and Sunny says he should take a class at PCU to get started. Maxie talks to Felicia about Nathan and Lulu's visit. She says she has stopgap that they'll be okay. She says effects will be different, but she does not want to get in the way of their happiness. Lulu stops by the station to let Nathan know that effects have worked out with Maxie and invites him to regale. Portia learns about Jordan's gestation. Stella stops by Jordan's, surprised to find Curtis there. He tells her that he has moved in with Jordan after subscribing the house over to Portia. Stella is concerned about the speed in which he moved on with Jordan. Stella worries they'll get hurt by rushing effects and thinks he should not move by yet. When Curtis takes a call, Stella comes across the gestation test. Jordan joins Justine at the gym and tells her that Curtis has moved by and that it feels right this time. She's certain effects will work out. Trina shows up at the sanitarium with a surprise for Portia and they end up at the gym with Jordan. Trina gets a textbook and has to head out. Jordan makes a beeline for the restroom, and when she comes back, Portia realizes that Jordan is pregnant. Keep checking back for the rearmost General Hospital recaps. The very air in Port Charles seems to crackle with a tense, electric anticipation, a palpable hum of secrets waiting to detonate. For Portia Robinson, this should be a period of serene anticipation, a time to focus on the burgeoning life within her. Instead, her gestation has arrived at the most inopportune, tumultuous moment imaginable. She finds herself suspended in a precarious emotional tightrope walk, caught between the familiar, comfortable love she shares with Curtis Ashford, the father of her child, and the exhilarating, dangerous pull of her desires for Isaiah. This unexpected pregnancy, rather than simplifying her chaotic life, has thrown every complicated feeling into sharp, agonizing relief. Portia had convinced herself she could navigate this impossible situation with grace. She envisioned a future where she and Curtis would co-parent harmoniously, their shared love for their child forming a bridge over the chasm of their broken romance. Simultaneously, she fantasized about a private world where she could explore the passionate connection with Isaiah, a world that existed parallel to her life as a mother. It was a delicate, unsustainable fantasy, but it was the only way she could cope with the choices she had made. This internal conflict, however, did nothing to temper the fiery disdain she harbored for Curtis's former flame, the ever-composed Jordan Ashford. To Portia, Jordan wasn't just an ex-wife, she was a specter from the past, a reminder of a history she could never be part of, and now, a rival who seemed to be effortlessly reclaiming her place in Curtis's life. Every interaction between them was a silent skirmish, a battle fought with veiled glances and clipped tones. Portia saw Jordan's presence as a direct threat to the future she was trying to meticulously construct, a future where she remained the central figure in Curtis's life, even if not as his wife. And now, the universe, in its most cruelly ironic twist, has presented a new battleground, one that could redefine the very concept of family in Port Charles. A revelation in the nail salon. The atmosphere at the nail salon, typically a haven of relaxation and whispered gossip, became the unlikely setting for a seismic revelation. Portia, seeking a moment of normalcy, found her peaceful interlude shattered by the sudden arrival of Jordan. The air thickened with unspoken animosity as the two women occupied the same space, a silent acknowledgement of their tangled connection hanging between them. Portia's observation was sharp, honed by jealousy and suspicion. She noticed the subtle shift in Jordan's demeanor, the faint sheen of perspiration on her brow, the way her hand fluttered nervously to her stomach before Jordan abruptly excused herself, making a hasty retreat towards the restroom. For Portia, the pieces clicked into place with a sickening certainty. It was a mirror of her own recent past, a memory seared into her consciousness. The unexplained nausea, the sudden dizziness, she recognized the signs all too well. When Jordan returned, pale and guarded, Portia's restraint evaporated. Her question was direct, laced with a barely concealed venom. "Jordan, is there something you want to tell me? Something about a pregnancy, perhaps?" Jordan offered no verbal confirmation, but her flustered silence and the way her eyes darted away from Portia's accusing glare was answer enough. Portia's mind raced, a maelstrom of fury and dread. She had just navigated her own pregnancy revelation, a secret she had guarded until the truth became impossible to hide. Now, Jordan was potentially facing the same situation, and the implications were catastrophic. If Jordan was carrying Curtis's child, the delicate co-parenting balance Portia had envisioned would be irrevocably shattered. She wouldn't just be sharing Curtis with a memory, she would be sharing him with a new, tangible family unit. The very thought ignited a firestorm of possessive anger within her. However, the truth is often more complex than initial assumptions. While Portia jumped to the most dramatic conclusion, Jordan's body was sending mixed signals. Her recent health scare, the frantic worry over her liver, was still fresh. Could it be that her body, having endured so much, was simply playing tricks on her? Were these symptoms a mere echo of stress and recovery, or was there another, entirely different medical issue at play mimicking the signs of pregnancy? Or, in a twist that would send shockwaves through the Ashford family, was Portia's worst fear about to be confirmed? Was Curtis, a man already facing the prospect of fatherhood with Portia, about to become a parent twice over, tying him to two very different women for the rest of his life? The question hung in the air, a ticking time bomb with an unknown detonation time. A discovery at the doorstep. While Portia was left to stew in her suspicions, the confirmation Portia craved was inadvertently uncovered by an unlikely source, Stella, Curtis's formidable and fiercely protective aunt. With the genuine intention of welcoming Jordan back into the fold, Stella decided to drop off a thoughtful housewarming present at Jordan's apartment. Her arrival, however, coincided with an unexpected surprise. Curtis himself answered the door, a sight that immediately raised Stella's discerning eyebrows. "Sweet mother of mercy, Curtis," Stella exclaimed, stepping inside and surveying the space. "You've moved in already? You signed the house over to Portia and just landed here?" Curtis, ever the peacekeeper, tried to explain his decision as practical and swift, a way to move forward without lingering in the past. But Stella, who possessed an uncanny ability to see through pleasantries and straight to the heart of a matter, was not convinced. She settled into a chair, her presence a quiet judgment on the speed with which her nephew had transitioned from one complicated relationship to another. "Moving on is one thing, baby boy," she stated, her voice a low, concerned hum. "But moving at the speed of light into the same situation with a different woman? That's a recipe for a whole new set of heartaches." As Stella spoke, her eyes, trained to notice every detail, wandered across the room. They landed on a small, unassuming object half hidden on a side table. Her heart nearly stopped. It was a pregnancy test, its little window holding a secret yet to be deciphered. A jolt of pure shock ran through her. This was far more serious than she had imagined. Jordan wasn't just a comfortable, familiar presence for Curtis, she could be carrying his child. The implications for her nephew, for Portia, and for the entire family dynamic were staggering. This wasn't a simple rekindled romance, it was the potential beginning of a whole new chapter, written before the previous one had even ended. Stella knew, with a certainty that chilled her to the bone, that this secret would not stay buried for long, and when it surfaced, it would unleash a fury that would make the previous battles over Curtis's heart look like mere skirmishes. Navigating other storms in Port Charles. While the storm gathered around the Ashfords, other lives in Port Charles were colliding with their own turbulent weather. The close-knit friendship of Lulu Falconeri and Maxie Jones, a bond forged through decades of shared triumphs and tragedies, was suddenly on shaky ground. The catalyst, as it often is in Port Charles, was a man, Nathan West. The argument erupted with a familiar, pent-up frustration. Lulu, ever the passionate advocate, and Maxie, the queen of guarded emotions, clashed in a flurry of accusations. It took the calm, steady presence of Nathan himself to break them apart. His simple, heartfelt plea for them to be honest with one another hung in the air long after he departed, leaving the two women alone with the wreckage of their friendship. Lulu, her voice thick with emotion, laid her cards on the table. She confessed her deepest fear, that she would end up resenting Maxie if she allowed her own feelings to hold Maxie back from pursuing a future with Nathan. It was a selfless, painful admission. But Maxie, her eyes flashing with a sense of betrayal, was not ready for absolution. "You lied to me, Lulu," she accused, her voice trembling. "From the moment you woke up, you knew how you felt about him. You kept it from me, and that changes everything." For Maxie, the issue wasn't Lulu's feelings, but the lack of honesty. It felt like a fundamental crack in the foundation of their friendship, a crack she feared would widen into an unbridgeable canyon. She felt the terrifying sensation of losing both the man she might love and her best friend in one fell swoop. Meanwhile, at the police station, a different kind of mystery was unfolding, one that tugged at the heartstrings of even the most hardened officers. Detective Chase threw himself into the case of the abandoned newborn, affectionately nicknamed Baby Jane Doe. He approached Dante Falconeri, his sincerity radiating. "I want to help find this baby's family. No one should have to start their life alone." Dante, overwhelmed by the lack of leads, was genuinely grateful for the assistance. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source, security footage from the train station. The grainy images showed a young woman matching the description of the baby's mother, Delilah. Soon after, her abandoned luggage was recovered. Nathan, ever the diligent officer, brought the bags in. As Dante and Nathan carefully unzipped them, they found a heartbreaking collection of items: small, carefully folded baby clothes, a few rattles, and a well-worn baby blanket. It was the inventory of a mother who had prepared for her child, only to make an impossible choice. The luggage tags confirmed her identity, giving a name to the ghost they were now desperately trying to find. The search for Delilah Wilson and her family had officially begun. At General Hospital, Brooke Lynn Quartermain felt an unexpected and powerful connection to the tiny, vulnerable infant. With gentle permission from Elizabeth Weber, she was allowed to sit with the baby in the NICU, offering a comforting presence. When Brooke Lynn, her heart aching with a maternal instinct she didn't know she possessed, asked if she could hold her, Liz gently but firmly explained the strict protocols for premature infants. However, she reassured Brooke Lynn that simply being there, speaking softly, and offering her warmth was invaluable. "Your voice and your presence can mean the world to her," Liz said with a kind smile. Felicia Scorpio, ever the source of practical wisdom and deep concern, shared a sobering thought with Liz. "If no one comes forward for this little one by the time she's ready for discharge," she murmured, her eyes filled with empathy, "she'll have to go into the foster care system. It's a daunting prospect." The conversation naturally drifted to the recent drama between Nathan, Lulu, and Maxie. Felicia, ever the meddler with a heart of gold, expressed her worry for the couple and for her own daughter, Maxie. Liz, ever the voice of reason, gently advised her friend to stay out of it, knowing that some storms simply need to run their course. The web tightens. Back at the station, the search for Delilah's family continued. Chase took a moment to update Brooke Lynn on the discovery of the luggage, offering a small thread of hope in an otherwise heartbreaking case. He then returned to the hospital to spend more time with the baby, his deep voice singing soft lullabies to the sleeping infant, a scene of unexpected tenderness. Dante arrived at the hospital with news for Liz. "We have a name," he announced. "Delilah Wilson. Now, we need to find her family, find out what happened, and see if they can give this baby the home she deserves." The search had a new direction, a new purpose. Elsewhere in the city, a quieter, but equally significant, conversation was taking place. Sonny Corinthos found Gio playing his guitar at Charlie's pub, the music a melancholic echo of the young man's uncertain future. Sonny, a man who understood the weight of legacy and the necessity of carving a path, offered some blunt, fatherly advice. "You have to move forward, Gio. Finish school, find a real job. The music is a beautiful thing, but you need a foundation." Gio, his brow furrowed with the anxiety of a man facing a crossroads, confessed his deepest fear: he didn't know who he was without his music. It was his identity, his solace, his everything. Sonny, looking at the young man with a surprising amount of insight, shook his head. "Your future is in that music, Gio. You just have to find the way to make it your life, not just your escape. Take a class at PCU. It's a first step back into the real world, a way to build something real." For Gio, the advice was a lifeline, a small, tangible action in a sea of overwhelming uncertainty. Maxie, seeking comfort, confided in her mother, Felicia, about the painful confrontation with Lulu and Nathan. "I still have hope we'll be okay," she admitted, her voice small. "It will be different, I know that. But I don't want to stand in the way of their happiness. If they're meant to be together, I have to find a way to accept it." It was a mature, heartbreakingly selfless sentiment from a woman known for her dramatic flair. Lulu, taking a step towards reconciliation, visited Nathan at the station. A sense of calm had settled over her after her talk with Maxie. She delivered the hopeful news: she and Maxie had worked things out. She extended an invitation to Nathan, a chance for the three of them to finally sit down and navigate the new, complicated landscape of their relationships with honesty and a desire to move forward. The final confrontation. But the most dramatic scene was yet to unfold, orchestrated by the relentless hand of fate. Trina, Portia's daughter, arrived at the hospital with a cheerful surprise for her mother. Their subsequent trip to the gym, of all places, put them directly in Jordan's path. It was an unavoidable, excruciating collision of worlds. Trina, sensing the underlying tension, received a timely text that allowed her to make a graceful exit, leaving her mother alone with her rival. The atmosphere in the gym became stifling. Portia watched, hawk-like, as Jordan's composure began to crack. Without a word of explanation, Jordan made a sudden dash for the restroom, her face pale. This was the confirmation Portia needed. This was the final piece of evidence. As Jordan emerged, her attempt at a casual demeanor was a complete failure. Portia stood there, arms crossed, a look of triumphant fury on her face. The silence between them was deafening, filled with the unspoken accusation. In that moment, no words were needed. Portia knew. The secret was out. Jordan was pregnant.